Greetings to our viewing audience and welcome to another fabulous edition of Out on Film, Atlanta's largest LGBTQ film festival. We are now celebrating the 35th anniversary. Happy anniversary. And of course, this is Miko Evans, the founder and executive producer of Meek Productions Incorporated. We are the world's first LGBTQ exclusive talent agency and production company. And we are proud to say that we've been the official media partner for Out on Film for 10 years this year. So it's like two anniversaries we're celebrating, the 35th anniversary of Out on Film and 10 years of our partnership with Out on Film. So we're very excited and everything. We have so much in store this week. If you have not purchased any of your VIP tickets yet, what are you waiting on? There's still time. This is the second time that they're doing the hybrid edition, both in person and streaming events. So once again, please go to the official website at www.outonfilm.org. Once again, that's outonfilm.org. And I'm just excited to be doing this Q&A because we're getting ready to talk about a fabulous film called Nana's Boys. And of course, we have both the writer and the director of this fabulous film, brother Ashton Pina, is actually with us live from Puerto Rico. And, so glad that he's still doing okay in the midst of
a little
the whole
hot and sweaty, but we're okay. We're safe. Luckily, I'm grateful. Not so many people on the island are as well to say. So just sending my prayers and thoughts to everyone else across the island. But yes, I'm here in Puerto Rico. Congrats on a decade of a partnership, a fabulous partnership. And I'm so excited to be coming to Atlanta to show Nana's Boys because for me, Atlanta is the mecca of Black gay culture. And I think this is a perfect place to show it. So thank you so much, Jim and the team. And thank you, Miko.
No problem, man. It's just an honor to actually be talking with you right now, and I'm excited to see you in person too, of course. So let's get right into this fabulous film. Oh, by the way, for those that are viewing us right now, not only will this fabulous film be streamed the next following day, but it will be live in person first on, let me make sure I get the date correct, on September the 28th. And that's going to be on a Wednesday night. And so it's going to be showing as one of the major feature films for that Wednesday evening. So be sure to make sure you get your tickets once again at outonfilm.org for more information. And we just can't wait for you all to see this film. It is so fabulous and everything. And then of course, all of the films that's featured live goes actually on streaming the next day. And so be sure to check that out at your earliest convenience. So, Ashton, let's get into the meat, okay? Because the movie is very, very good. And I also like the fact that when it starts off, it seems like you take us on one journey, and then there's this twist, and then come to find out there's all of these other hidden secrets and everything like that. So kind of give us a little bit about the inspiration for the film, one. And then two, what was your inspiration in actually guiding or making the film go that direction? So go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much again. So Nana's Boys was inspired by my own relationship at the time. I was navigating a relationship and in the midst of the pandemic. And I've been wanting to make a feature probably since about 2017. And so I've been writing scripts and trying to, do the screenwriting competitions and this lab and that lab. And I finally just got tired of waiting for somebody to say, Ashton, here's a certain amount of money, go out and make a film, when I had everything at my fingertips. I had an apartment, I had equipment, I had all the things necessary, maybe not the budget, but I had the skills, I had the tools, and then I had the passion to get it done. So I used a little bit of my own relationship as inspiration, and then things that my friends were going through in the pandemic and turning 30 and wondering about like, what is my purpose? What am I doing on this planet? And then navigating that amongst a relationship that seems all perfect on the surface, but then once once the shit hits the fan, there's a lot of cracks in that picture perfect frame. And so that's really the exploration of this film, is really this journey of these two characters. One that is a roller coaster. I think any relationship is a journey, a roller coaster. It has its fun parts, it has its loopy loops, its curves, its upside downs, and hopefully you come back together to keep riding it all over again. But that this film was really just inspired by things I was navigating at the time in 2020. I shot the film in my apartment with friends in the midst of the pandemic. So it just was really, again, me not waiting for somebody to say, you get to go make this film. I made it on my own. And I'm so grateful that the world finally gets to experience this film.
Wow, that is awesome, man. I mean, congratulations once again. The fact that you was able to act, get all of this together during a crucial time in not just in our country, but around the world with the pandemic. So you took full advantage of that time and made it happen. So I'm proud of you for that, my brother. Kudos once again. This is an awesome film. It's like I said, it takes you're thinking you're going on one journey, and then it takes this twist. And so, this was just really deep and everything, because, okay, we start off with the scene with them waking up. It's Omarian's birthday, because of course the characters is between the two lovers, Q and Amari. And so, wake up, it's Amari's 30th birthday actually, and Q is already 35. So he's getting ready to get up, get his day together. He has this interview with this law firm that probably may make partner and stuff like that. And then we're finding that Omarion is not really in the best spirits and everything. And so everybody's wondering, okay, why he's kind of down on his birthday. Okay, so he's dealing with the fact that he's getting older. And then too, come to find out, he hasn't worked in a while, and I'm glad that, later in the film, you kind of gave a little flashback to kind of find out how all of that came about. So kind of give us a little talk about, what made you kind of go in that direction first before the twist.
Well, I mean, a lot of us, we wake up one day and we think everything is picture perfect, and in the snap of a moment, everything can change. And that's just life. And I really wanted to reflect life as much as possible in a dramatic, obviously in a very dramatic way, but reflect our life, which is why you see these two Black characters who relatively are doing pretty well for themselves. They're not struggling in any kind of way. They're comfortable with their sexuality in some cases, right? Like they're not completely out and about, but they're comfortable with who they are. And so it doesn't play in what the normal stereotypes of Black gay films that we've seen. There's no sex scene, steamy sex scene. There's not like this trauma of like getting beat up or anything, but it's just something to just enjoy and to reflect on your own self journey, whether you're in a relationship with somebody or a relationship with yourself, a way to like look in the mirror and say like, what am I doing in my own relationship? What secrets might I be holding? Where can I be more honest and open about what's coming up for me? And I think that's really how I navigated this film. Is really just we're on a ride. Think of it like a roller coaster. We start here, coming up that hill. You go down a hill, you take a curve, and it's literally this up and down, almost all the way to the end of a ride, and then you just ride it. And I love to experience this film in the theater with people because, especially people of color, Black people, like the reactions, the way that people respond, like people really feel seen in themselves in these characters, whether you're straight, gay, Black, white. I think there's a lot of things that there's a lot of universal relatability that all of these characters kind of reflect in you. And so I think for me, that was really just my goal, was just to take people on a journey and almost like reflect what is real life in some ways.
You know what, and that's also a good thing, because sometimes what I love about this movie is that it's like there's so many revelations that you can take from this particular from this piece, because it's like you see both sides of the spectrum from both parties. I love the fact that you had one person a believer and the other person an atheist. You see what I'm saying? Because I kind of would have liked to have seen, the reasoning behind why the other person was a non-believer. Because normally when a person is a non-believer, there's usually a real reason behind that, and a lot of people are not always willing to go on that journey with that person. But I like the fact that you even brought that to the forefront, because there is that in our community as well. And all Black people and all gay people, we're not a monolith. So I love the fact that you brought that to the fruition. And I also love the fact that you saw a person that really, he had this idea of what he wanted in a relationship and stuff like that, and it kind of seemed like it kind of made him codependent. So it's just wonderful, because I can talk about this movie all night long, but I don't want to talk about it and give it away.
I love the fact that you brought up this the spirituality aspect of the film. And I wouldn't put an atheist label on Amari. I think he's still discovering his spirituality for himself. And I think that's what a lot of us get the opportunity to do as we develop. For Black people, we grow up in the church. Our grandparents and their grandparents grew up in the church in a religion that was prescribed for us, that was designed so that we can continue to be oppressed and to think a certain kind of way. And so we're still battling that. And so I think there's a lot of hurt that Amari has towards our quote unquote idea of God, that Q had an opportunity to navigate a little bit already in his experience on this planet. Losing his grandparent, years before, helping him to navigate what is God to me? What is the creator? And how do I create that image for myself so that I'm grounded in that? And that's an experience that I'm going through, that I think a lot of people who are queer, Black, are navigating this connection to something higher than themselves, when the world has says God hates gays and all these really horrible things, when if God is love, then he can't hate, right? Like if God is love, then he has no room for hate. And so I love that this piece, and I hope that we get to examine these characters along their journey in life. Like this is just one film. I would love to pick up this film some number of years later, so you can see how this experience impacted them, and then what changes they might have made along the way. Because I think, especially spirituality, it's constantly changing. I think it's something that you until the day you're no longer on this planet and in this experience that we're existing in, you'll be navigating, every day.
And that one of the reasons why I even brought up the atheist piece, because like I said, I have friends from different walks of life. And I remember when I first ran into the first Atlanta here has a group that started here called Black Non-Believers. And it's a movement. I think they just celebrated their 12th anniversary. And so it's a movement that started at a result, and it's a combination of of people of color, both straight and gay and gender fluid. And so I remember when I first met them, and I started hearing the variety of stories from people who grew up, as people of color that grew up in the church, and then you had some that just didn't have that experience at all, because that's all they knew. But it was just wonderful. Once again, because Black people are not a monolith, it was just wonderful just to see that variety and stuff like that. So, and I say I brought that up to let you know that even people from that particular community is going to be inspired by seeing this, because you don't necessarily see that particular development of people struggling and still coming into the awareness of their spirituality, or maybe they may be led to another direction. So just to see that on film, like I said, I commend you once again. Just to see that dynamic on film is something totally remarkable and beautiful, because there is a difference between being religious and being spiritual. I went through that years ago. And also I love the fact that even towards the end of the film, and even towards the end of the relationship, when they finally realized that they couldn't really be together due to that deal breaker and that revelation that was revealed, one person cheating, one person not telling the truth about their status. I like the fact that they was able to still talk about the good points of their relationship, and Q was able to teach him how to meditate. You know what I'm saying? And he was able to leave that particular relationship with that gift. Now, I know you talked about in the beginning that this particular piece kind of mirrored your relationship to some degree. So I don't mean to be nosy. So, because I wanted to find out, okay, which one in the movie is you, or do both characters have elements of you as well? Is it just one or the other, or do both characters reflect you and the experiences that you went through in your relationship?
Well, the great thing about being a creative is a lot of every character is somehow a piece of me. It's somehow a piece of stuff that I'm internally trying to navigate and deal with and heal from. But I'm also pulling from things in the world, things my friends are dealing with. So Amari and Q, they're a lot of both of me. There's dreams and hopes. I can plan a lot of things. I can also kind of allow other people to take control and let them do that. But I also, there's a sense that this film helped me work through a lot of the things that I was getting ready to need to work through. So when I wrote the film and shot the film, I was in this relationship and I was with this person who I thought I was going to spend what I thought would be the rest of my life with. And then 3 weeks after we finished filming this film about this couple on the edge, we broke up. And it was crazy that like this film helped me kind of prepare for the dealings of like loss and abandonment and the things that my characters were going through 2 weeks before I needed to go through it myself. So there was a lot of things that this film helped me prepare for, and give me freedom to experience as well, and be like, well, I'm okay with this relationship ending, knowing that that doesn't mean that the love was never there or that it couldn't exist in another form. But what we had just at this moment is done, and it's going to help bring me into the next place, which I would love to see how the meditation and journaling helped Amari in the future, sense of his life. What things did that experience help him support, and vice versa with Q? What did maybe not being such a planner, kind of living in the moment, do for Q some odd 3, 5, 6, 7 years later after this film has taken place? And you still see at the end, in many ways, some of the characters still struggling with their choices of like, damn, I did this and now I have to deal with the consequences of that. And I think if we were in different circumstances, this film could have been a lot more violent. I think there could have been, because there's a lot of secrets that come out that could really hurt people. But I think that in my creation, Amari knew that there was never no ill intent. Amari had also knew that he was healthy and safe, so he didn't need to react violently when this news was revealed. But again, we did set a boundary and a deal. And by breaking that, now my trust in you is already null and void. And at a point when I was already in a place where I didn't know if this relationship was really what I needed to be doing for me. But I was in it because I was comfortable. It's tough dating black men. Dating black men is revolutionary. So if you find somebody that you're in who's doing well for themselves and y'all are great together in some way, your grandmother loves him, he's connected to your family, there's going to be some sense of like, damn, do I really want to end this? So then I have to start it all over again. There's that fear. Whereas sometimes that freedom in breaking that apart actually allows for something more to actually flourish.
Wow, this is very beautiful, because before we end the interview, I know I got 3 more points I want to bring to your attention, but I'm glad that you talked about everything that you talked about, because the naming of the film, Nana's Boys, we see that one of the main connections with the two is that both were actually supported and raised by their grandmother. And while one had passed, the other one was still alive. And so both of them was able to have a relationship with Nana. So the Nana that was alive and stuff like that. So I love the way that you connected that, because I know it's like right toward in the middle, in between the midst of the movie, and they had their conflict. It's like I finally, that was one of the main connections. I said, yeah, Nana's Boys. And I know he mentioned that later, right before they got ready to split. One of the things I wanted to ask you is that, because toward the end, even though they broke up, another twist for me, I was not expecting him to throw away remnants of the relationship. And it kind of had me thinking, I'm like, okay, was you really into this? You know what I'm saying? Because normally when people spend that much time together, it's like, yeah, I know we're no longer in that particular arena, but I'm not just going to just completely throw away the good things and the memories that we had. So the fact that he left the photo in the park, one, and then two, as he was walking, the fact that he actually threw away the whole birthday card, you know what I'm saying, with Q's number in it, that was interesting. So, kind of explain the inspiration or the message that you intended to show with those two final scenes.
Yeah, I really love when people kind of catch this and think about it in a way. And I love you brought it up, is that you've been in a relationship for so long that material things aren't the things that's going to keep you together, keep that
Mhm.
memory flowing. So Q is connected to those material things. Whereas Amari is like, your experience for me is much deeper than a photo, than a card, than a number on the back of your receipt. If I'm with you for 5 years, your number is gonna always be here in my head. I'm gonna know that number by heart. So like these things that Q can sometimes be a manipulator and uses these materialistic things to then rehook you back in. Whereas Amari is like, okay, cool, I love you. There's no changing that. And these things that I can leave behind will never erase the love that we've had.
Wow. Now, see, that even brings the additional piece, because I always thought that Q was a little too codependent. Even though he was the one that had to know the lawyer job and stuff like that, there was some codependency there. And it's like, like I said, having the need to control the situation and stuff like that, and Amari kind of felt like he was smothered in some ways in the relationship. You see what I'm saying? Everything had to be picture perfect, had to be this way. And it's almost like he really didn't have any say so. And then Q was so busy he was so glad to be in a relationship. He was just trying to hold on to everything, and also had this secret. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, this is just really deep. So you even explaining it just brings a whole different dynamic.
And you talked about Q holding on. If you remember one of the last scenes we see Q, he's still holding tight to, like, he's still holding, whereas Amari is letting go. And
Yeah, because
so
it's like Amari's chains have been broken. It's because he kind of felt like he was in a prison. Now,
and
even though
relationships can feel like that.
yeah, relationships can feel like that. And even though, and I love the throwback scene that you had when they show, okay, how Amari, how they was after they came back from their trip, and how Q was getting ready to tell him that he had something to tell him. But when Amari found out the situation with his job, that he got laid off, they got rid of his promotion, because he's what had got a promotion to management on his job. So both of them had two good jobs, but when one lost their job, and it's like you saw Amari, his whole identity changed, because his whole life was about that job, that good job, good benefits, good hours, and all of that stuff. And so it's like he had that quick change. And then Q had a change too, but was going to share it. But when he found out what was going on with Amari, he said he didn't want to add, in his mind, he didn't want to add to the trouble. So I just love it. I just love it.
It's super interesting when you think about our opportunities to be honest with the people that we choose in on. When
Mhm.
you say you're my partner, you're the person I'm with, I then get to choose to be honest with you. And if that's gonna hurt you, then that's something that you get to experience. But I think there's something really, 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 really lovely that somehow just naturally came about, is that you really get these intricacies and nuances that exist within relationships, the things we do to try to keep somebody in it, or the things we do to, because there's a lot of punches thrown too in the film. They're also throwing punches at each other along the way, but you do that to the people you love. You know what's going to push their buttons. And sometimes that's sometimes the challenge in being in a relationship, is that we can be super competitive with each other and saying, like, I'm, trying to win and I want to win. I want to be right when sometimes it's not about being right. But
It's
this,
about
this,
it's about
this
walking in truth. A lot of people fail to realize.
together.
I mean, it's right, there's wrong, there's right, there's wrong, then there's the truth. And so a lot of people forget that. And I also love the fact that because I didn't want to lose my point. I also love the fact that you in the film and when the reveal was made, I like the fact that it kind of shows us as a people how far we've come. Because me coming from a time of, because the whole when AIDS was a crisis, that was I was like a junior in high school, and we talking about like 88, 89. So just to see how far we've come, because I was actually thinking from that standpoint about how I said, now imagine this relationship during that time. You know what I'm saying? And somebody was to reveal to you their status after the fact. You know what I'm saying? And going back, like you said earlier, that situation could have went completely different. So I thought about where we were and how that really could have gotten violent. You know what I'm saying? During my time, and it's like now we're in a place to where now the virus is not as of a death sentence like it used to be now, and like it used to be, and everything, and how far we've come. So I'm very grateful that you showed that. And it's just so beautiful to see that, beautiful to see about how certain boundaries are made and how what actually can make or break a relationship, because there was a part of me that was rooting for the relationship to last and stuff like that, because I thought the presentation was beautiful and everything like that. But I just love the way that you took us on that roller coaster. So once again, kudos for a fabulous movie. I can't wait for everybody else to see it.
Thank you so much. I honestly, looking back and thinking about the journey, I got to make this film with family. My little sister made a film about me making the film. There's a 25-minute documentary you can find on YouTube that kind of, you get to see a little bit more behind the scenes of us making the film. And I think the film will be distributed by Breaking Glass Pictures in the fall of 2020. So 2022, excuse me. And so I'm just so grateful that the world will experience these films and will open up conversations that they get to go back and have with their partners, with their friends, and really open up this conversation around the importance of seeing Black love on screen, and how even though this is a shattering love story, I don't make any qualms about that. But even still, this experience of seeing Black love also then reflects to somebody who's a Black person who loves Black people, and not to say anything about interracial love, because love is love, and I believe in that. But there's something to be said that if I see something on screen that reflects something like me, I now have some additional tools to then either avoid or use in my toolbox to then say, as I'm navigating this relationship with this person, things might come up. And I love that this film is dedicated to my grandmothers, who I am a Nana's boy. And in this experience, I got to meet my paternal grandmother. I've gone my whole life without knowing my paternal grandmother. And in this experience of this film, I got to meet her. I got to dedicate this film to her. And so there's so much that I'm so grateful for an independent filmmaker to make his film on his own, have it distributed by one of the top LGBTQ film distributors, and to be in Atlanta, is going to be one of the best things. So I hope to see you there. It's going to be quite an experience. And thank you so much for even, considering and talking to me. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, I can't wait to just embrace you when I see you, because I will be there and everything. So it's just going to be an exciting moment. And one last piece before we end the interview. I love the actors that you chose. What was it about them that made you choose them for this role?
Well, the funny thing is, David is my longtime collaborator. We've been working together for probably about 12 years. We worked on a web series called Bye. You can find that online. We've done short films together. And he's my producing partner. And so as I was writing the script, he was kind of reading early drafts, supporting me. And when we were casting, he ended up reading to audition another person for Q. And as he was reading, I was in my head like, oh my God, this is Amari. And so I hit David up like after that reading. I was like, David, would you play Amari. Would you tap in? And he said, yeah, of course, coach. I'm ready. I'm ready. Tap me in. And David is emerging. He's been on P Valley. He's been on, if you remember the scene of Andre walking into his wife cheating, David is the guy messing with Andre's wife.
Wow.
And he's on The Politician. He's on a lot of things. And then Jared is actually one of David's friends. So as we confirmed David as Amari, now I built the film around him. And he was like, yo, you should check out Jared. We went to school together, all these things. And once they read together, I was like, oh my God, this is them. And I really, it was a point that these were going to be Black men in this film. My previous film, In the Paint, a short film, it stars an interracial couple. And I only did that because I settled. I really wanted it to be about these Black couples. And I really try to do that because that's just the life that I live. And I think it's important to see, Black love on screen. And so I was lucky to have these two people come together and bring this film to life in the way that they did and really push me because HIV wasn't in the script when we first started it. I avoided because while HIV is still ravaging our community, around 1 in 2 Black men will get it in their lifetime. It's still a very troubling statistic. But I also didn't want that every film that deals with Black gay people has to navigate this HIV experience. But
absolutely,
for Q to make one mistake in this picture perfect life, he almost had to get almost the worst thing you could technically get from walking away from an experience of that kind. And so it was almost like I had it subtextually in there, like all this stuff was happening, but it was never like, hey, I got this by doing this. And so as the actors were reading, they pushed me to say, Ashton, there's something here. They never said what, but they said, Ashton, there's something here. And as a person who is living with HIV and navigating this experience, I felt inclined to just say that's what it was. And so put it there and put it on the surface and gives people an opportunity to see that people living with HIV don't look like the many different ways that the media tries to to portray us. But we're varied, we're diverse, and we're living healthy lives, probably more healthy than people who aren't living with HIV. So I am just grateful that this film gets to go out into the world, that people get to experience and hopefully shift their mindset in the ways that they approach the relationships that they choose to get in, because mostly everybody wants to be with somebody. Like, that's why we have all these apps and things. But if we really look to say, what am I really looking to attract and how am I looking to create that with somebody, then I can have something truly extraordinary. And that's what my next film was about. My next film was about this couple that meets, and over the course of a weekend, they build the foundation of a relationship. So whereas Nana's Boys is the crumbling of a Black gay love story, the next film is a budding Black gay love story. So I'm excited for the world to continue to experience my characters because they're going to be diverse, they're going to be unique, they're going to be interesting. And that's really what I believe my purpose here on this planet is to be an outrageous storyteller and entertain and empower creators. Like, I want my stories to empower people to go out and make their own stories. Like, everybody has a story to tell, and everybody deserves to have a platform to share it. And that's why there's film festivals like Out on Film, out in the world, is so you can go out and make something and then get to share it with people. And then let art do what it does. It changes, it impacts, it empowers, it enlightens. And that's why I love being a storyteller.
You couldn't have I mean, words. I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words. You could not have ended this interview the perfect in a better way. You know what I'm saying? So, Ashton, I'm looking forward to seeing you in person. Thank you once again for this beautiful piece of art. And thank you for letting us know that, yes, we can make our own stories and everything is a journey. You know what I'm saying? A relationship is not what we've been taught. You know what I'm saying? In a relationship, you have to go on a journey with each person that's a part of it. So thank you for manifesting that in this beautiful piece of art. Thank you for your spirit. You know, we are very, very proud of you. And like I said, I'm so excited for everybody else to see this movie. For everybody else that's tuned into this Q&A right now, once again, get your passes right now, whether it be the in-person event and or the virtual streaming event. It is going to be shown in person at Midtown Arts Cinema in Atlanta at 9 p.m. on Wednesday, September the 28th. And it will be streamed the next day on Thursday online. So make sure you get your tickets right now at www.outonfilm.org. How can people continue to support you, Ashton? What are your social media outlets and your website?
So I'm Ashton Pina, like Ashton, like Kutcher, Pina, like a colada. And then I'm on Instagram, Ashton's Dreams. So like my dreams, Ashton with an S, Dreams. You can follow the film, Nana's Boys film. You can follow it online, nanasboys.com. And again, the film will be coming out in the fall. Get to see it now, talk about it online, tell your friends. And then when it comes out digitally in November, feel free to keep streaming it then.
No problem. And for those people who want to continue to support what we do, please visit our official website at www.meak as in kite productions with an s.lgbt. That's a new domain, you all. So make sure you check that out. Once again, that's meekproductions.lgbt. Ashton, can't wait to see you in person. It's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see you in person to get the audience reaction to Nana's Boys. And until next time, you all, once again, happy 35th anniversary to Out on Film. And congratulations once again. Keep doing what you all are doing, and looking forward to seeing you all in person at the 35th anniversary of Out on Film here in the ATL, Georgia. Love you, Ashton.
Love you. Thank you, brother. Take care, everyone. See you there. Bye.